Hey YouTube, today we are back with another video of us doing like a realtor roulette where we kind of ask what would you do, and the concept is we have some funny, some challenging, some dramatic, and like just funny real estate situations, random ones, and we're going to answer what would you do. And so the first one is a buyer brings their ex to the showing. What would you do?
As long as they're getting along pretty well, I guess I wouldn't notice. But if they started arguing, we may have to ask them to take a look at the backyard and get out of the house.
Yes, before stuff gets knocked over.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good way to handle it. I guess, yeah, like you said, it's really none of my business. So, you know, what you have going on with your personal life, I'm here to work and do business. So I would just try to handle it as professionally as I can. Like you say, if an argument breaks out, let's just scoot it into, you know, the front or backyard, but not inside the house.
Yeah.
And then a seller refuses to leave the house during an open house. I had that at my...
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yes. So that can provide some challenges. On the one hand, we understand that, you know, your property is your property, but on the other hand, it does make an awkward interaction for potential buyers that maybe don't know that you're on the property and make comments about how they don't like the flooring or they don't like the paint colors.
Yeah, and I think about it on the opposite end too, where they're like, you know, they don't want to say certain things because they notice someone is there. Like, usually they'll be sitting or something, and it's like, is that the owner? Like, people have asked me in that situation, is that the owner? And I'm like, yeah, you know, you can only like kind of try and get them to go and let them know people are going to feel more comfortable and give their true, honest opinion on the home when you're not present. And so we can get good feedback for you on how we can do things differently, perhaps. But if they don't take you up on that, they don't take you up on that. So it's like you can only really do so much. You can't force someone out of their house.
That's true. And same thing with doorbell cameras, because they can hear, sellers can hear what is being spoken about on their doorbell cameras.
Yeah, I have to get better with that, because we used to door knock and I used to be like saying whatever came to mind.
We were just singing.
Yeah,
like,
we would sing. I love to do that.
We would come up to doors and forget that we would be like, ding dong.
Just being goofy, our goofy selves.
And we'd be like, it's hot out today.
And we're dancing. Trying to survive the heat. But anyway, the next one, you find out mid-closing that the neighbor is a registered something wild.
You find out at closing?
Mid-closing.
Well, I guess as long as it closes. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it either way.
Whatever it takes to get the deal done. No.
Well, I mean, then they're either moving or they're moving in or out. So you find, I mean, if you find out some information that you didn't previously know, that's unfortunate.
I feel the same way, because it's like, in the eyes of the law, they have a right to be there. So who am I, the mayor, or like a person in politics who can change that? You know, there's not much you can really do. You just, if your buyers like that home, or if your sellers are ready to get rid of it, you're working for them. So you have to see it through.
Exactly.
Your buyer falls in love with a house, but their mom hates it and sabotages the deal.
I have been in some open houses where some younger people have come in with their parents present, and the parent was like not very impressed. I had a young lady whose father was like, I don't think you should purchase this house, and said it in front of me.
I've been through that too, now that you mention it.
I just kind of was like, well, I'd be happy to show you something else.
Yeah, what would you like to purchase? Because I have it all. It's here for you. Please use me as your realtor.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I kind of just took it that same approach as well. I hate to like piggyback off of all of your answers, but it's the truth. I definitely told them, well, if you don't like this one, I can show you others. What are the criteria you're looking for? How many rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, and all that good stuff, price range. So yeah. You arrived at a listing and there's a tarantula in the bathtub.
I mean, that's very possible in this area of the country, although it'd probably be more like a banana spider. They get very large. They're kind of yellow and their legs are they're kind of really creepy.
Disgusting.
Looking.
I've had that happen before. I kind of was just talking to you about that.
Yeah.
Spider webs everywhere. It was disgusting. A dead roach in the hallway and everything. But, I mean, you could choose to leave, or you could kind of just tough it out and be like, you know what, I want to be as professional as I can be. I told this listing agent I would hold it open, so I'll hold it open. Or, you know, I told the seller I would, so I will. But it's like, at what cost? Because at the same time, you don't want to look bad to people who come through the door, like you just hold open dirty stuff and this is how you work and you're disgusting. But
pest control is hard to, I mean, even though the house is treated for pest control, bugs are going to get in and out though, and it's not necessarily a representation of the people that aren't living. Most of the time it's in vacant houses, and the unfortunate side of it is we just have to warn people, hey, there's a big spider web right there, don't walk into it.
Right. So you do the best with what you got. Let's see. Another one is a cringe client. Your buyer keeps using baby talk with you in every showing. Oh God.
Do they have a small child with them? Because that might be normal, but
what if it's just it's just you and them, and every time they talk to you, you want to see the little bitty baby
bathroom? The little bitty bathroom.
What would you do?
I would have a hard time not laughing.
You would just burst out while they were talking. What if this is how they kept talking to you? Even after you were laughing, they just kept trying to get you to tell them, do you have a little bitty?
I don't know. I'm put on the spot. I don't know.
Yeah, I would be like, are you purposely doing that? I think I would kind of address. I would laugh too, but then I would address it. But a client brings a vibe consultant to every house, and they keep saying, they keep saging each room. What would you do if you had a buyer bring a vibe consultant and they were saging every room, every showing?
If they're, as long as they're not like totally,
that's so weird.
I don't know. As long as they're not totally dismissing the whole house overall, and like if they're constantly, they're bringing negative energy. Like, why do they need to go to the showing? But I don't think that they would. If they're just gonna tag along, more power to them, I guess. Sage away.
I think I would just like kind of check in with listing agents at the houses and be like, hey, is it okay that this buyer has to have a vibe consultant sage each room before they go inside of it at our showings? Like, I don't want the seller to come back and be like, this is the smell of orange peel and it makes me break out rash all over. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be like something where I could get in trouble from it. So I would try to make sure that it's okay. And then I would be like, yeah, but it wouldn't bother me. Like, if that's your thing, go ahead. More power to you. Wild sellers. A seller won't declutter because buyers should accept me as I am.
Well, that's true, because they're not going to be living there for much longer. So, I mean, you just have to encourage the buyers to look beyond the clutter and see the property for what is really there without all the stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to argue with a client. I'll always try to choose an alternate route, even if I feel like they're being irrational a little bit. I'll try to present to them that it is best to declutter for these reasons, A, B, and C. But if you choose not to, like, and you have your beliefs as to why you shouldn't declutter, then that's totally how it'll be, and we'll just have to, like you say, explain to the clients, you have to look past this. You show up and the seller is in the bathtub with the door wide open.
It's time to leave. It's time to leave. It's time
I'll
to
just
turn
show
around
myself out.
Walk out the front door. I do not need to be in there.
Can you imagine if any of these came true? Amy, I'm terrified. Are we speaking this into existence?
No.
Okay, yeah, I rebuke it. But anyway. Okay, so the home smells like 10 wet dogs, and you already told your clients it was so charming.
Well, I mean, pet odors can be removed though. So, aside from that, are there any other positive features we can highlight?
Yeah, you at that point you have to try to find the positive, and I'll be apologetic, like, you know, I was not expecting this, you know.
But it isn't our fault that people have pets,
and they usually understand that it's not our fault for the most part. But yeah. Do the best with what you got again. A raccoon runs out of the fireplace mid-showing. What do you do?
I feel like...
I'm sorry that these are all killing me.
I feel like we'd have to open some doors and get that thing out with a broom or something, like shoo it out of the house.
How are these not cracking you up, Amy? Like, that is hilarious to me.
Well, I did have birds come down my chimney before, but like, I mean, a raccoon, I don't know.
A raccoon is insane. That's too big, like. Okay. Let me see. Your buyer wants to lowball by $100,000 and add a clause that the seller leaves their hot tub.
We may need to talk about the art of negotiation, because we should not be putting in offers if they're not representative of what the property...
We will be laughed at and not taken seriously.
Yes.
And so I would try to address that. If they're like a person who just refuses to go any other way, then I guess we'll just not have to work together, because it's going to trash your reputation at the same time. I feel like if you're the realtor who puts in offers below $100,000 for clients, like of what they're asking, like that's kind of outrageous. And then the seller accepts a better offer after verbally accepting yours. How do you break the news?
Well, you should never be putting yourself in that situation.
Everything in writing.
Everything in writing.
I agree. Let me see. Title issues come up 2 hours before closing.
Ooh, that's a pickle.
Yeah, I've heard people say they've dealt with that. I don't want to, but I'm sure everything's inevitable that there's going to be some issue eventually. But what can you do?
We don't wish it upon our folks. You just have to maintain the clear communication with everyone involved that there's been some stuff come up, but for the most part, you can't do much about it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
can't change it.
Right. You kind of got to accept your fate at that point. But if there's something, I would be asking, like, is there anything I can do to help? Like, any records I need to send over to correct anything? Or, you know, I would be trying to make it still happen. But if you can't do anything, you can't. Let's see. The buyer's wire didn't hit. The moving truck is already at the new house.
Well, they shouldn't have scheduled the movers before confirmation that their wire was accepted. Again, that communication, always telling people, you know, we need to have that proof of wire sent not only to us, but to be able to send it on to the other party, whether they're the buyer or the seller. There has to be double, triple checking. So it should never have gotten scheduled as far as movers until taking over ownership of the property should happen at a certain time. So moving trucks should only be scheduled then.
That's true. Communication is definitely key. And I would hope that the buyers would like kind of mention that they were going to have movers come, or like some hint was thrown to where you are aware and you can be like, you know, you know, it was a thing before that gets to that point where your stuff needs to come through, your wiring, funds, and everything. But the next question, or the next one is, a buyer falls in love with the home, but the neighbor walks up and says, "Y'all better not be loud." Can you imagine? I would be like, "Ma'am, we're here for a showing. The seller has asked that people come to see her home in hopes that they'll put an offer in if they like it. Of course, we're not going to do anything to purposely disturb you, but our talking, I doubt that would be too loud.
Right.
But we appreciate you telling us."
Right. I'll piggyback off of that.
Yeah. Okay. And then you hear the neighbor practicing bagpipes during the showing. Do you know what bagpipes is?
Oh yeah, it's almost like a flute, but it's like an instrument. Not a flute, but they have
okay, it's like a flute. It's in the family.
No, it's got it's
like
got
little holes,
tubes that make different sounds. Like if there was like a lot of, I don't know how to describe it.
We could all Google bagpipes, or I could insert
It's a
picture
loud
maybe.
Instrument. It's a loud instrument.
What would you do if the neighbor was? I've had neighbors have dogs run up to people at the show and ruin it. So I've had issues with the neighbors doing inappropriate things before.
Yeah.
And all I did was apologize to the buyer and like try to talk to the seller about it in hopes that she would talk to her neighbors. Like, can you not have that happen while I'm trying to sell this home?
Right.
So that's
same thing.
Okay. A client calls you at 11:58 p.m. every night.
I've always answered the phone because I answer the phone no matter what.
Yeah,
unless I'm asleep.
I want to say the same thing. I mean, in special cases, if it was a really rough week or something, maybe you wouldn't catch me. But for the most part, I like to answer the phone 24/7. A seller keeps referring to you as sweetie and asking if you're married.
I mean,
you are, so that's an easy one for you.
Yeah.
But how would you handle sweetie?
But they keep calling me sweetie. I mean, I'm not gonna.
If it's a man,
well,
and you know he's already asked if you're married. You've told him you are, and he's like, "Okay, sweetie. Well, hi, sweetie. How are you?" Would you just look past it, or
at that point it's got to be brought up that we're not going to be calling me that anymore.
Okay, yeah, discussion is definitely necessary. It depends on the scenario. Like you said, I might be able to look past it, but it could be condescending, or it could be like they're trying to flirt with you, and it's like when it gets to inappropriate level, it's like you have to have the conversation. That's not cool. My name is Addie. Funny fails. You call your client by the wrong name for 3 weeks. I've done that.
3 weeks.
Because I never met them in person.
Yeah,
it was like a phone duty call that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like a woman's voice. But she said I'm a man. And so, I didn't know. And I couldn't tell. You have to just apologize. That's what I've done. I apologize for the misunderstanding. Yeah. You lock yourself out of a showing with the buyer still inside. Well, they can unlock the door for you, huh?
If they're still inside, yeah. Unless sometimes you gotta call a locksmith.
We've been there. We've all been there. And so we're almost done. We have 4 more. You find out your buyer is secretly trying to go behind your back to the listing agent.
I mean, that's a breach of contract.
Yeah, that's an ethical dilemma for sure.
So a conversation has to be had about the paperwork that was signed and the dates and what the obligation is to uphold those agreements to work together.
For sure. And then a lender offers you a bonus to send them more referrals.
That's unethical too.
Yeah. What would you do?
You have to report afford it, but I don't exactly know how.
I guess we could go to our broker and kind of discuss it, and she would outline the steps to, the course of action or whatever.
Although I'm happy to recommend a number of different lenders. Like, you can't just exclusively only recommend one lender all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're asking.
Right. I agree. A client reveals at closing they didn't use their real name and don't intend to move in.
Well, that's also a breach of contract. So their driver's license name and the name that you call them don't have to be the same thing, but the way that they sign their paperwork has to match their driver's license, or then you have to seek legal counsel because they've breached their contract.
For sure. Same thing I would do. You walk into a showing and realize the owner is an ex you ghosted. What would you do in that situation, Amy? I never even thought of something like that.
I haven't ghosted anybody though. I don't know.
Well, it ended badly.
Well, at that point, I need to leave.
Yeah. I just show myself out the same way I came in, awkwardly. That's exactly it. I'm like, nice seeing you here. I'd probably crack a joke, laugh, and leave.
Yeah. That's about right.
Yes. So yeah, that's it for the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it was entertaining, educational. We just kind of wanted to let our personality shine and stay consistent with our YouTube posts. So I hope we didn't terribly bore you guys and that you got something out of it. But yeah, we'll be back next week.
Yes, for more interesting content.
That's right.